Welcome guys to another episode of Boom Arena. Today we're gonna be playing with a Digger Mortar Cycle, which is not a very popular deck, but in my opinion it's one of the strongest decks right now in the meta, because as every strong deck, it has a poison, and my opponent very aggressive at the beginning of this game. I obviously expected that, and this first digger in the back was for the defense. So we're gonna start with a bang this matchup, as my opponent even uses some spells to attack me. But we prevail, so this deck is very strong offensively, especially because Mortar can function with two roles. It either can be like defensive building, absorbing damage and hitting support troops. It also can be treated as a offensive tool. And oh my god, I absolutely didn't see that thief connecting to my tower. It should have been put to a swordman, but like whatever. The gods of the game decided that swordman doesn't kite at all and even doesn't deal any damage. So we're gonna be starting with from a very bad position, and we'll have to just come back somehow, some way. The thing I'm scared is that at any point he can just play a piercing archer, and even though it's gonna be a bad trade for him, at the end of the day he's gonna get a very good damage, which will be very hard for me to catch up with. And this thief is like connecting to my tower over and over again. Like, stop, come on. Piss off, mate. That's just annoying. That's why I don't like to play against Viking Bridgesman, because these bricks are just always about attack. And okay, and he also finds a lineup because why not? And yeah, I think this game is already lost, because I pretty much cannot stop his oncoming onslaught, and it's even a dash. The game hates me today. I'm gonna skip this first game because I'm getting absolutely crushed by this dude, and usually I have no problem with this matchup, but this guy is just getting every single lucky interaction, and I mean, come on. I cannot play like this. I'm gonna just skip to the game number 2. Okay, so we are off the rough start, but do not worry about that. We are gonna compensate with a game number 2, this time against Super Ape. Also, the thing that kinda pisses me off, but is also a saving in I don't know, I wanted to flex on my language, but it's not happening today. Is that I only lost 4 cups because this guy is actually decent and currently is number 1 on leaderboard. So he has put a lot of grind. I absolutely can outplay it. I actually outplayed him a couple of times even today, so I know it's possible. It's just he got a very good idea of what my hand was and absolutely abused it. And while I don't have any problem about this, it was just a very good play out of him. Oh, and I'm gonna just get very lucky in this game though, as my opponent plays Super Ape 2.6, and right now my opponent has the damage lead, but it is Digger Poison that has a advantage in this scenario, because I can just play a win condition on his tower. He cannot pretty much prevent me from doing so, and I can defend his win condition every time. Like, I'm playing Fawns and a Rolling Steel. I'm trading evenly against his win condition, and I'm getting away with it. And I'm playing Digger on his tower, and no matter what he does, I'm gonna get some damage. So his way of winning will be actually to outcycling my Mortar, but since I've defended the previous time with a very budget defense, I'm gonna be able to play Mortar this time, and my defense will be no problem. While Fawns and Rolling Steel is my like secondary defense though, because if your opponent predicts that, you will be, well, you will get some hits on the tower, because if your opponent's Super Ape advances up the board and you have no defense at the ready, it's gonna be very tough for you to defend. That's why I'm gonna play a Mortar and Swordman here. He's gonna actually go for a Flying Bomb, which is call. I'm not a huge fan of this, but at the same time he didn't have any better way of breaking through, so I guess I understand why he's doing that. And right now I'm gonna just go for poison, because why not? He's going for spells, let me just go for my spells as well, and he's gonna try to break my position. I'm gonna just play Mortar and Swordman once again. I'm gonna actually snipe his gunner because he's just very cocky with those, and okay, my gunner obviously perseveres. Unfortunately won't counterattack, but it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna actually right now, okay, he's very aggressive with his gunners, so that's one thing he's doing very well in this matchup. He want to always stay on the aggressive side as a Super A player, because once you stop attacking, yeah, your opponent will have to get too much space and will just digger poison you to death. And yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. He relinquished all the map control, so I'm gonna just go for a digger plus poison, and that's gonna be the end of the game. Actually, for a 36 medal player, he's playing very well, and yeah, even this game shouldn't be that close. It was that close because he made up with his gameplay, so yeah, GG's. That was very nicely played by him, but obviously, yeah, I had a matchup, so there's nothing to be done for him at this point. Okay, so basically, many people consider like this archetype of digger plus poison as a very high skill archetype, because you have to kinda know what you're doing on defense, and pretty much your only winning strategy is digger plus poison, so your comeback is very unlikely if you ever fall behind on damage. But in this deck, I've purposefully put a mortar instead of like more solid defensive building, which may be cannon or bomb tower. I've said in the previous episodes why I despise Von Hut, and yeah, that's why I like this variation, because even though it is still very likely that you will be having hard time once you fall behind on damage, at least you have this option of playing Mortar and just sometimes accidentally getting a lock and winning the game. So I love playing just decks that don't rely just on one-dimensional strategy that if it fails you're absolutely destined to be doomed. This time I'm gonna be having actually both Digger and Mortar, and if my opponent doesn't have a good response long-term to one of these, I'm gonna be absolutely good to go. That's why like this deck absolutely doesn't die to Flying Robot, while many Digger decks just do. So, okay, I'm gonna have to... Oh, speaking of which, I'm gonna be playing against Flying Robots, so that's a bad matchup, but since I'm gonna be having a Mortar, it's not gonna be that bad, because I'm gonna be able to play it like this, and right now he has to react to this Mortar, because else it's gonna lock onto his tower and it's gonna deal damage. And there are 2 hits, it's already more than his Flying Robot did, and yeah, that's a very good position for me. So I'm gonna just play a Swordman here. I'm gonna just try to apply as much pressure as is humanly possible. He's gonna go for a Flying Bomb, which I don't think is a correct play. He's gonna eliminate my gunner, which I think is correct play, because he didn't want it to connect at all. But right now I'm gonna just... okay. I'm gonna go for a Swordman Kite, and it's gonna be actually successful. So I have to delay my Mortar for a bit, and right now I can just play a second gunner and absolutely kill every single one of these robot pups. I'm gonna also kill these apes since they are a nuisance in my position. I'm gonna play Swordman against this T-Rex. He's gonna actually get a Flying Bomb here, but it's not gonna matter that much. He's playing very aggressively right here. I was waiting with this Mortar because, yeah, I was expecting for him to do so, and right now I'm gonna just be absolutely chilling. I am already almost back to another digger, so I won't even need that. This tower will fall. He was playing very aggressively at the bridge, and well, it's good because he kinda was trying to stop me from getting a lock. Um, he was playing a wrong deck to do so, because like Flying Robot wants to tower trade and not fight at the bridge. If you want to fight at the bridge, you probably will be better off with a bridge spam. So yeah, with that win, let's go to the next. Also, this deck kinda has its strengths and its weaknesses. So as you probably could have seen, its strengths is when it defends. So like, usually when you want to engage your opponent will be on your side of the map where your deck is pretty strong. Not every deck is strong on its side of the map. For instance, there are decks like Flying Robot that absolutely don't want to trade on its side of the map, but on the opposite side. That's why this deck is very base tradey, and I'm gonna get rid of this. Super Ape, he's actually gonna be playing a very heavy cycle. We're gonna see where it's gonna go, or if anywhere. Okay, he's gonna be having a stone fonts for that. That's not gonna be a problem at all. I'm gonna actually save my Mortar for his Super A, because I expect he has a lighter cycle than I do, and for that single reason I'm gonna just try to keep this Mortar at bay at all times, and I'm gonna just go for the fonts to force out some response. He's gonna be able to respond with a Explorer, which is fine, I guess. I could have just gone for a offense with this Mortar, but like, it doesn't really matter. Also, he's gonna take a mana lead right now, so I'll have to be very careful of what I'm playing. I'm gonna play Poison against this Gunner, and right now I will have to just keep Devils or Fonts and Rolling Steel at all times, because he's gonna love to just attack me. And there it is. I'm gonna try to stun this super. Okay, that was very bad stun. It got 2 hits, and unfortunately he's gonna take the damage lead. So I'm gonna just go for a digger. I'm gonna right now have to keep the Mortar for his Super Ape at all times. And that's not gonna be an easy task, because he's already playing very aggressively, and it's gonna very likely to force me to not have that. So I'll have to play this very disgusting looking Mortar just to prevent him from a lock. So he's already in a very good spot, even though he is losing on damage. That's because he is just up in momentum, and with this offensive momentum he'll be able to soon convert it into damage, and I'll have to just be careful that this damage won't be too high. So I'm gonna just go for the offensive Mortar, why not? Force some response out of him this time, and I'm gonna go for a digger like this. So my digger right now will be tanked by a swordman, and that's usually a good position to be in. I'm gonna go for a poison here. I'm gonna go for fonts and stun this Super Ape. That's very cool, and right now I'm actually in the clear. He kinda didn't play his cards very well, so I'm gonna... I mean, by cards I mean his situation he had, not like individual cards, because I don't think he made any micro mistake, but macro wise he could have definitely made it better. So I'm gonna play Poison, and fortunately it doesn't activate the Viking. I was scared for a second that I might do so. I'm gonna actually take a one hit from the Super Ape, so that was a overzealous steal, but nothing to be worried. I think we are good to go with next set of thingies. I'm gonna right now play a digger to the back. I'm gonna play a poison, and I think that's gonna close the game, because I'm gonna read that. He's gonna actually block my digger for a very long time, so I'm gonna just play a rolling steel just in case poison wasn't enough, and that's gonna conclude the game. My dude playing Super Ape against Digger Poison, doing very good job, but like I said, it's my matchup, so I'm gonna, after all this game, take the win. Let's jump to the next game. And right now we're gonna get a rematch against him, so let's play some video games, and I'm betting that he didn't change the deck at all. So we're gonna get the exact same matchup, and he's gonna open with Fire Tiny, which is both move. Right now I'm gonna just open with Mortar because why not? He's gonna have a Super Ape right now at the ready, so that's gonna be the thing I'm gonna have to be cautious about, but nothing to be worried. I'm gonna take care of this gunner in a second right here. And right now he's gonna do a very good counterplay. Just as I'm attacking him, he's gonna attack me on the opposite side. But unfortunately for him, I was ready for that. So I'm gonna get a ton of damage with a digger because it was tanked by the swordman, and he's gonna get absolutely none. So that's a good start for sure. Right now I have a mortar. I was playing the mortar at the beginning against his nothing. I was just playing mortar to pressure at the beginning of the game to force him to play a super ape on the opposite side, and it was just for this purpose, so I can absolutely counterplay it. And right now he's gonna be playing explorer, which is fine response to a mortar. I'm gonna play my devils, and I think I'm gonna just go for a digger because why not? I'm gonna just apply some pressure and he'll have to respond to that, and there we go. Right now he's gonna be playing stone phones, which is, I guess, fine. I don't have to really react to that, so I'm gonna just play swordman. I would love to play rolling steel for that, but unfortunately, since I don't have mortar in cycle, I'm gonna have to be careful with my stone phones and rolling steel. I'm gonna right now snipe his gunner because it's very vulnerable, and okay, he's gonna get a one hit, so that was very nice play out of him. But I think this flying bomb was too aggressive, so I'm gonna just pressure him with devils. And yeah, his flying bomb turned out not to be too aggressive because he absolutely managed to defend, except obviously of the digger chip, which he pretty much cannot prevent unless he catches my digger out in the open. So that was very nice play out of him, and he's gonna be just going for it, which is a way to go definitely. I'm gonna go for a digger chip once again, and that's gonna be just my damage source for now because he's pretty much not preventing me from doing so. I'm gonna go for another one. I'm gonna right now pre-place a mortar because I know he's gonna be playing, yeah, he's gonna be playing a super ape. Okay, I won't have to rolling steel. Actually, Swordman gets a very huge shot on the tower, so I'm gonna just play poison. And yeah, I think he is absolutely doomed in this position because I can just play Mortar. And Mortar is obviously the best response to his Super Ape in my deck, so I'm gonna absolutely counter it. And next defense will be tough. I won't gonna lie, but I think I'm gonna be fine with this. Okay, I'm gonna take one hit. That's absolutely fine. I shouldn't have played a second set of swarm units, but it's gonna be fantastic. Digger locks onto the tower, also the poison. I'm gonna play a mortar to kite his super ape. And yeah, that's gonna be pretty much the conclusion of the game. He gets a very good prediction, but yeah, it's not gonna matter anyway. So he gets a very nice play here, but yeah, that's gonna conclude the game. He's actually very good in this matchup, as it turns out, bringing the games against me very close, even though it's clearly the matchup I should always win. So yeah, I think I'm gonna just play 2 more games and I'm gonna wrap this video up, since this deck has many matchups to be explored. And I'm gonna get the Mr. Clash Royale once again, which is, well, say the least suboptimal. I'm gonna play some devils in the back. I'm gonna put a... Okay, he's now playing a necromancer, so finally he's switching decks in order to counter me, which is to be expected. Honestly, I have more medals than him, so it's pretty good decision for him to go for something else. I'm gonna go for a mortar because I've just dealt with his pressure very nice. He kinda overspends on this mortar, so I will just chill a bit in the back. I'm gonna play digger because with this deck I still don't know if he has mortar or not, so it's better to be safe. That's actually a very important thing with decks like this. you want to know whether your opponent has Cyclone or not, because if your opponent has Cyclone, you'll have to be very careful with your Digger play, because once you activate the Viking Tower, there is no legal place where you can put your Digger, so only the tower targets it. Okay, so right now my opponent will be very accurate with his Necromancer plays, and he will get some, I would say, even value with it. I'm gonna try to snipe. Okay, I was about to say that I'm gonna try to snipe it before he hits my gunner, but I wasn't successful, so I have to play a Swordman to prevent this ape from connecting. And he's gonna be playing Footman Keg, nothing too shabby, and right now he finally is showing me his win condition. So I'm gonna just set up a defensive Mortar and pretty much hope for the best. I'm gonna play Fons on the opposite side to create some pressure, and since he is playing some Devils, I'm gonna play my Devils on my own. And yeah, he's gonna be playing Cemetery by the looks of it, so I'll have to, okay, play some Mortar here, help the Swordman, and by the looks of it, he's gonna be playing a Brute Cemetery, which is, well, absolutely winnable matchup for us. But we'll have to be careful because it can turn tides very quickly. I'm gonna use Poison here on defense so that this Cemetery doesn't do any unfunny tricks. And I'm gonna get a better of this trade, so yeah, I'm gonna play Mortar here just to force another response out of him, and it was absolutely successful. And yeah, he's gonna get rid of my Mortar, which is nice for him, but right now I'm gonna just go for another Digger Devils. He's gonna play a Necromancer, which is gonna be obviously nice for him, and right now I will have to be very careful about a Brute and Cemetery push, which comes right now, and it's gonna be pretty scary until I get a Poison, because he's gonna probably spell these Fons. Or not. Okay, I get a free defense. I'm not gonna complain about it at all, and right now I'm gonna just go for a Digger, and I don't think I want a Poison here. I'm gonna just play a Rolling Steel. That's enough damage for me to be satisfied. I'm gonna play for another Swordman, and he's gonna just go for a Necromancer, which is obviously a play, and oh my god, this Necromancer got more value than it ever should have, and I'm gonna just go for the Swordman because he has to go for the Cemetery and he won't go for it. He's gonna go for a Footman Keg, and I'm gonna just go for a Poison on offense. So that was a very tough matchup, and yet we still managed to persevere. That's why you see that this deck is very well rounded and can win even against a Necromancer, which usually is considered to be good against the Digger decks with a baity cards like we do have. And we're gonna get a Clash Royale player one more time. I'm gonna probably end the video after this game, so I'm gonna just get this. Okay, I'm not gonna get this Footman, that's unfortunate. But I'm gonna get those apes, so he's gonna be playing probably the same deck yet again. I'm gonna right now try to pressure him with Mortar. Nothing too shabby about that. Also, he used his flying bombs, so there's a huge window open for me to just attack him. I'm gonna play Digger here, and I'm gonna play Fons here. And right now he will have to react perfectly to my push out, or else he's gonna get blasted. And yeah, he actually reacted pretty well. I'm gonna let this ape run free, because if I overcommit in single, it's gonna be very difficult for me to ever defend a Brute plus Cemetery push. So I'm gonna just play Mortar here and for some response. And there it is, a Bomb Tower. I'm absolutely fine with this, because as long as he's spending a mana on defense, he cannot spend it on offense. So yeah, I'm gonna actually have to poison this Brute because of these Devils that he played it with, and I would love this Bomb Tower not to having a shot, but it did, so yeah, we're gonna just clean up and clean reset. That was pretty decent trade for us, I would say, because even though double mana kinda seems scary for us, I actually like to play this matchup more in double mana. For a simple reason, you have more options to defend against Brute Cemetery, and obviously if you don't die, your deck usually is doing fine. So I'm gonna just go for a Mortar. There is huge chance that he's gonna go for some counterplay, but he's not, so we're gonna just go for the opposite side. And this time he's actually doing pretty good job at not dying to my counter pressures, and that's doing him a very huge favor. So we're gonna just go for Fons. We're gonna go for a prediction Digger against his Necromancer, but he didn't do that, so we're gonna be in a bit of trouble right now, unless he doesn't defend the Swordman. Okay, so he didn't defend the Swordman, and that's gonna be a lot of damage for us. Very fortunate, because I've made a mistake and thought this game will be very hard from now on, but he made this mistake as well, so we're gonna be again pretty tied up. So we're gonna be just going for this Bomb Tower. I'm gonna go for the Devils here and now Predictive Digger, and there we go, we catch this Necromancer so it doesn't convert our Devils. It was obviously a greedy play. He could have played some things like a Flying Bomb to actually assure his Brood getting a value, which is sometimes for what they will play, and in this case it would be very hard for us. So we're gonna just go for a Digger and Poison, our usual stuff, and right now I will have to defend without a poison, unless he just allows me to cycle to it. Well, in that case the defense will be very simple, but nonetheless it was very fun game against him. GG's. Let me get the poison, and actually these devils stay alive, so that was close one. Fortunately it was the end of time, so we've managed to win on the tiebreak, and yeah, that was a very difficult game, to be honest. GG, well played. I've got 4 games against my dude Clash Royale, and fortunately I've won them all, so hopefully you get some idea how to play this Digger Mortar Poison deck. And as always, if you enjoyed this content, leave the subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also leave the comment if you enjoyed this video, and if you made it to the end, you get the extra encouragement to do so. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'm gonna see you in tomorrow's episode of Boom Arena.